Welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
We were talking Bears these past two segments, and there's some positives to talk about when you talk about the future and Ryan Pace, and he's had some good draft classes, of course, and then
makes you really look forward to next year if they bring in a new coaching staff.
Exactly. I think we both agree the coaching staff is kind of the number one priority here. I think that would fix a lot of the issues.
Yeah, that and somebody to throw to.
Yes, that and some receivers will be good. And trying to stay healthy, which I think goes back to the coaching staff a little bit as well. Okay, we're going to now switch over to some of the picks for this week. And, there's a lot of good matchups. Some teams, are getting ready to clinch some playoff spots. It looks like. We're going to start with tonight, which is a big one for me fantasy-wise. The Redskins at the Cowboys. They're both 5-6. The Redskins are the better team. No doubt about that right now, especially when you consider Ezekiel Elliott is out. That kind of limits Dallas's offense to pretty much nothing. So
right, and I had been saying for a while that I want to see how Dak Prescott performs without Ezekiel Elliott.
Turns out he's not a great quarterback.
I'm shocked. I've only been saying, and this isn't saying he's a terrible quarterback. I mean, he's a good quarterback. He's probably, better than, Alex Smith when he's playing how he normally does. He doesn't throw the ball downfield. I mean, I can't tell if he's more game manager, he doesn't have the arm strength, or he's afraid to, because he really is making Des Bryant look more washed up.
Yeah, I tweeted out a few weeks ago, I think this was after one of the Cowboys' losses, I tweeted out, now I was kind of joking, but kind of not. I said, there's probably 16 other quarterbacks in the NFL right now that are better than Dak Prescott. And someone that I don't know replied and said, that's the craziest thing I ever heard, and then I proceeded to list the 16 quarterbacks that were better than him. It took me like 2 minutes, to figure it out. Now some of them were kind of far-fetched, like I said, an injured Deshaun Watson, but I mean healthy, kind of true.
Dak Prescott, you could probably. I mean, the Cowboys can win a Super Bowl with him and Elliott, except he's, it's really kind of his flaws are being exposed now. Where the great having the best offensive line in football and one of the best running backs in the NFL, we're definitely hiding some of his weaknesses. And we knew he had trouble throwing downfield. Either he was afraid or he didn't have the arm strength, and that's and that's hurting Des Bryant.
Yeah, and besides
and he hasn't. It's not like he's like hasn't looked as good as he did at the beginning of the year. He's just looked god awful. I mean, he's been
But they don't
terrible.
really have any receivers except for Des Bryant.
I mean, Williams and Beasley are pretty good. I mean, he's been throwing to those guys. Those have been the top three receivers for a while,
right,
in Dallas. And and you can win games with those guys. Except Prescott just isn't making it happen. I know
there's no defense,
and especially the defense isn't very good. I mean, and he's not a quarterback you're going to win a shootout with.
No, so
and I see a lot of Cowboys fans are getting mad at people, saying that he's, obviously now without Elliott, he's not looking as good, and he's, obviously showing he's probably, maybe he's probably middle of the pack in terms, of what tier quarterbacks he is, and Cowboys fans are all, oh no, he's elite, and then it's just like, no, he's not.
Yeah, exactly. There's like I said, there's legitimately 13 or 14 quarterbacks that are starting right now that are better than him. So yeah, he's somewhere in that middle tier, like we said. So
some Cowboys fans are dumb enough to say that they'll take him over Rodgers.
Oh God, yeah.
Just like Cardinals fans saying that they would take Yadier Molina over Mike Trout.
Right, and Jared Goff is another good example of a young quarterback who's better than Dak Prescott right now. So we got the Redskins at the Cowboys tonight. Who do you got?
Redskins.
Redskins going into Dallas and beating them in Jerry World. Okay, I'm gonna agree.
Dallas just has not looked like a good football team since Elliott got suspended. I mean, they haven't just looked not great; they've looked terrible.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I think that's pretty smart to go with the Redskins.
I mean, they're on a slide too. They haven't been playing very well either.
Right, but they won last week on Thanksgiving.
You mean when they beat the Giants?
Yeah, when they beat the almighty great Giants. So that
and just
hey, a win's a win at this point,
right? And just just keep it quick. I mean, I think it's disrespectful what the Giants did to Eli Manning.
Yeah, we can talk about that when we get to their pick. That'll be coming down soon. Okay, so we're both going with Washington. Okay, here's a really good matchup: Vikings at Falcons. Falcons have finally started to figure things out. They're 7-4. A lot of their early struggles probably had to do with their offensive coordinator leaving. And
I think a lot, and now they're getting used to the new system.
Right.
I mean, obviously, it's not going to look as good as Kyle Shanahan's system, except guys are starting to play better. Matt Ryan is looking a little better. I'm going to go with the Falcons.
Okay. The Vikings are 9-2, which is really surprising. It's also their best start since 2000. So
Case Keenum.
I can't believe Case Keenum's been doing as good as he's been doing. It's pretty crazy. They have a great young receiver in Adam Thielen. He's really good. That was a really smart draft pick by them this year.
Right, and also throw in that Dalvin Cook tore his ACL in the third or fourth week. That's your starting running back right there.
Now that duo with Latavius Murray and Jerick McKinnon, that they've been getting it done. They've been picking up the slack, and they've been doing a really nice job. This one's tough. I'm going to stick with the Falcons like you. I think that Falcons offense is figuring things out. Mohamed Sanu, since he's come back, has been like Matt Ryan's favorite target. Julio Jones had a huge game last week. I think we're going to see him have another big week. I think it's hard to beat them in that dome at home. So I think the Vikings are also due for a loss. I'm gonna go with the Falcons. Lions at Ravens. Both of these teams are 6-5, and they're pretty evenly matched.
I'm gonna go with the Lions. I feel like the Ravens just haven't looked as good as they should at times, and Flacco has been kind of inconsistent. I know he had a good game on Monday night.
But you're facing Houston. I mean, that was not a big deal. Yeah, I mean, he did okay. I'm going to go with, boy, this one's tough. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Lions, too. They fought with Minnesota last week on Thanksgiving, but ended up losing. But they kind of hung in there. It kind of depends on what their receivers are doing, and if Matt Ryan will if Matt Stafford will keep turning the ball over or whatever. But I think they'll get it done, and I think they'll move to 7-5. Okay, we got Patriots at the Bills. I wonder who's going to win this one.
I wonder how many picks Peterman would throw against Bill Belichick.
Oh my God! Because that'd be like every other play,
right? I mean, and the thing is, like, that defense got off to a horrible start, and now they've gotten it together, and they're starting to look like the Patriots defense again.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way the Bills are going to win this one, unfortunately. I know the Bills are at home, and that they are technically still in the hunt at 6-5, but I just and
they realistically can make the playoffs. I mean, they're not going. I don't think
Sure.
they're going to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the teams in their division, they're the second best team in the division, which is kind of surprising. That they're better than Miami right now, and they're better than the Jets. So, yeah, we're both going with the Patriots. Buccaneers at Packers.
Jameis Winston's coming back.
He is coming back. Do you think that's enough, though?
I'm going to say no, because I don't think they played very well even when they had him earlier in the year. I mean, granted, not to say much about Brett Hundley and Green Bay, although they are coming off a encouraging performance against the Steelers.
Mike Evans has to find the end zone. He hasn't found the end zone, since the first 3 weeks of the season. But I think with Jameis Winston back, the Packers had a pretty heartbreaking loss on Sunday night where they really had a good chance to bring it into overtime, but the Steelers won on a game-winning field goal. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers, though. I think Jameis Winston will do some good things in his game back. Kind of a meaningless game for both teams, but I think Tampa Bay is going to get the win. And you're going with the Packers?
Oh, yeah, I'm going with the Packers. I think that they're definitely riding high. Even though they lost against Pittsburgh, Brett Hundley looked really good. And Tampa Bay just hasn't looked good at all this year. I mean, they should be better than they are, and they're not.
Right. Colts at Jaguars. This one's pretty easy for me. That Jaguars defense is pretty darn good. They're 7-4, which is something I don't think we ever thought Jacksonville would be. So I think they're going to win.
I think we're seeing the difference that quality coaching can make. They fired Gus Bradley, brought in Doug Marrone, and roughly the same guys are back.
Yeah. That is a really good defense, and the Colts are really playing for nothing. Without Andrew Luck there, they're one of the worst teams in the NFL, really. So, yeah, we're both going with Jacksonville.
I mean, and when Gus Bradley was fired with a few games left last year, everything started to click after that for them. They look good. They brought Doug Marrone back, and here we are. They're 7-4, and I think they're going to beat the Colts.
All right, Broncos at Dolphins. Jay Cutler is back, so that's going to make me pick the Dolphins just because I think he's going to be mad, and he's going to be throwing the ball all over the field. Will he throw some interceptions? Probably, but I think when you got some good receivers like they do, like with Kenny Stills and Devontae Parker and Jarvis Landry, who I have on my fantasy team and need him to do really well this week, I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
I'm going to go with Denver. I think they're better than the Dolphins, and I think that this skid that they're on is going to end at some point. They're better than 3-7.
Yeah, well,
or whatever their record is, 3 and whatever.
3-8.
3-8. Yeah, they're better than that.
You would think so. I don't know what's going on there in Denver. Okay, we got Chiefs at Jets. The Chiefs have been scuffling, so that makes this a little bit of a closer match.
This pick is where if this was 3 or 4 weeks ago, this would be a no-brainer. I'm still going to go with the Chiefs, though. I think this is the kind of game that they're going to turn it around, and this is the kind of opponent that they will do it against. I think
the Chiefs are going to win like on a game-winning field goal or something. I think it's going to be very low-scoring, very defensive-oriented type of football. I think Alex Smith will do just enough to get him the win, but he's definitely not starter worthy in fantasy leagues or anything this week. Yeah, I'm going to go with Kansas City by a hair. Texans at Titans. Titans are 7-4, looking to get to 8 wins, which is really surprising. Marcus Mariota's been up and down all year, but against a Texans team that isn't as good as it should be, I think he'll take care of business at home.
Obviously having to start Tom Savage now, obviously hinders the offense.
It's a real shame because that team was on a roll with Deshaun Watson.
And it's a good point you bring up. You don't know which Marcus Mariota you're going to be getting in this game.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to go with the Titans, except, you could get the Mariota that isn't playing very well, and he'll throw a few picks, and Houston could win.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I think the Titans are going to win, though, too. Browns at Chargers. The Chargers have been surging. They blew out Dallas on Thanksgiving. That was pretty exciting to see. The Browns are 0-11. I think they're going to go to 0-12. I think the Chargers are going to win.
The Chargers are the only team the Browns beat last year.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it was in heartbreaking fashion for the Chargers. I mean, they shouldn't have lost.
As most of their losses end up going.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking fashion.
I got an interesting Brown staff for you.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Yes. I'm assuming.
For Hugh Jackson, in his last 32 games as head coach, includes with the Raiders, he's 2-0 on games on Christmas Eve.
Oh, wow.
And he's
I kind of remember them winning on Christmas Eve a few years ago.
Last year they did.
Yeah.
And last year's his first year as the head coach of the Browns, and 0-30 in every other game. The Bears play the Browns on Christmas Eve.
Oh, no. Well, is that in Cleveland or at Soldier Field?
It's at Soldier Field.
Oh, well, you never know.
Hugh Jackson's a candidate to get fired.
Yes.
They're 1-26 since he's taken over.
Right.
And if he does, he'd definitely be a guy you want to look at for the offensive coordinator position that hopefully opens up.
Right.
He's a guy that had a lot of success with Andy Dalton, made him look like an elite quarterback at times, and I think he can help develop Trubisky.
It's certainly possible. Okay, here's a game that really has some wild card / playoff implications. Panthers at Saints.
I'm going with the Saints, and I think it's going to be a really close game. Both defenses are playing well.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like Carolina's offense isn't doing enough to win a game like that. I don't feel like their offense will be the one that'll do enough to win, and it'll be the Saints, because the Saints are winning games, and Drew Brees is not playing as well as we're used to seeing him play, more from a touchdown standard. He hasn't been throwing as many touchdowns this year. They've been getting a lot of rushing touchdowns, and I feel like their offense is going to be the one that'll do just enough to win.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go Saints. I think it'll be close. I just think I think we're going to see another week where Cam Newton kind of